Nestled amidst the rolling hills of northwestern Cameroon, Sabum was a village like many others. Its people, farmers and herders, lived in harmony with the land. Towering above their lives both literally and figuratively was Lake Nyos, a crater lake formed long ago by volcanic activity. Little did they know this serene body of water harbored a deadly secret. August 22nd, 1986, dawned like any other day in Sabum. The air was still, the sun bright. By nightfall, however, an eerie silence had settled upon the village, a silence that whispered of tragedy. The date, August 22nd, 1986, would forever be etched in the annals of Sabum's history, a stark reminder of the day the village fell silent. It was the day the lake, a source of life and sustenance, transformed into an instrument of death. This is the story of that fateful day, a day when the air itself turned lethal, and a village, along with its inhabitants and animals, was snuffed out in the blink of an eye. This is the story of the Lake Nyos disaster. Dr. Emmanuel, the head of the health center in a nearby village, was returning home to Sabum after a short trip. As he approached his village, a sense of unease gripped him. The familiar sounds of children playing and livestock lowing were absent, replaced by an unsettling quiet. He hurried towards his home, his heart pounding with a growing sense of dread. What he found upon arriving sent chills down his spine. The streets were deserted, homes eerily silent. He called out for his family, his neighbors, anyone. But there was no reply, only the echo of his own voice amplifying the unsettling silence. As he moved through the village, a horrifying realization began to dawn. There were bodies everywhere. Men, women, children and animals lay sprawled in their homes, in the streets, in the fields, all dead seemingly without a struggle. It was a scene of unimaginable devastation, a macabre tableau that spoke of a swift and silent killer. News of the tragedy at Sabum spread like wildfire, drawing scientists and researchers from around the world to the remote village in Cameroon. The scene that greeted them was both puzzling and terrifying. What could have caused the deaths of so many people and animals seemingly overnight and without any visible signs of violence? The investigation centered around Lake Nyos, the seemingly placid lake overlooking Sabum. Initial observations revealed something peculiar. The usually vibrant blue waters of the lake had turned a murky red. This change in color, coupled with eyewitness accounts of a loud boom and a strange white cloud rising from the lake the night before, pointed towards a terrifying possibility, a limnic eruption. This rare type of natural disaster occurs when dissolved carbon dioxide suddenly erupts from deep lake waters, forming a deadly cloud of gas that can suffocate any living creature in its path. Carbon dioxide, a gas essential for life on Earth, can turn lethal when it reaches high concentrations. Unlike some other poisonous gases, CO2 is colorless and odorless, making it impossible to detect without specialized equipment. This insidious nature makes it all the more dangerous, as it can silently displace oxygen and suffocate victims without warning. In the case of Lake Nyos, the CO2 had been accumulating in the lake's depths for decades, possibly centuries, released gradually from volcanic activity beneath the lakebed. Normally, the pressure of the water column above keeps the dissolved CO2 in check. However, any disturbance that disrupts the delicate balance, such as a landslide, an earthquake, or even a period of unusually cold weather, can trigger a sudden release of the gas. In the case of Lake Nyos, the trigger remains unknown, but the result was catastrophic. A massive cloud of CO2, estimated to be over 1.2 cubic kilometers in volume, erupted from the lake, silently blanketing the surrounding valleys and villages, including Sabum. The Lake Nyos disaster left an indelible mark on the landscape and the psyche of the region. The once vibrant green valleys surrounding the lake were painted a sickly brown, stripped bare by the suffocating carbon dioxide cloud. The air, thick with the stench of decaying flesh, hung heavy with the weight of tragedy. The immediate aftermath was one of chaos and confusion. Rescue workers, hampered by the invisible threat of lingering carbon dioxide, struggled to reach the affected areas. The scale of the disaster was overwhelming. Over 1,700 people and countless animals lay dead, victims of a silent and invisible killer. The disaster sent shockwaves through the scientific community and beyond, raising urgent questions about the safety of other volcanic lakes around the world. It also highlighted the devastating consequences of natural disasters, particularly those that strike swiftly and silently. In the wake of the tragedy, the Cameroonian government, aided by international organizations, launched a massive relief effort. Survivors were relocated to safer areas, and efforts were made to understand and mitigate the risks posed by Lake Nyos and other similar lakes. The Lake Nyos disaster served as a stark wake-up call, prompting scientists and engineers to develop innovative solutions to prevent future tragedies. The primary focus was on degassing Lake Nyos and other potentially dangerous lakes, removing the accumulated carbon dioxide in a controlled manner. In 2001, a team of French and Cameroonian engineers installed a degassing pipe in Lake Nyos. This pipe, extending from the lakebed to the surface, acts as a giant straw, allowing the carbon dioxide to escape gradually into the atmosphere, preventing a dangerous buildup. The initial degassing efforts proved successful, significantly reducing the carbon dioxide levels in Lake Nyos. However, the long-term solution requires continuous monitoring and maintenance of the degassing system, as well as research into more permanent solutions. The lessons learned from Lake Nyos have been applied to other lakes around the world, including Lake Manoon in Cameroon, which experienced a similar, albeit smaller, gas release in 1984. Just 2 years before the Lake Nyos disaster, a chillingly similar event unfolded at Lake Manoon, another crater lake located just 100 kilometers southeast of Nyos. On August 15, 1984, a limnic eruption at Lake Manoon released a cloud of carbon dioxide, killing 37 people. While significantly smaller in scale than the Nyos disaster, the Manoon incident served as a tragic foreshadowing of the dangers lurking beneath the placid surfaces of these volcanic lakes. The similarities between the two events were striking. Both involved sudden releases of carbon dioxide from crater lakes. Both occurred at night, and both resulted in the deaths of people and animals with no visible signs of injury. The Manoon disaster, though less deadly, highlighted the urgent need for a better understanding of limnic eruptions and the development of effective mitigation strategies. Unfortunately, the lessons from Manoon were not fully heeded in time to prevent the tragedy at Lake Nyos. The tragedies at Lakes Nyos and Manoon brought to light a global concern: the potential danger posed by other gas-saturated lakes around the world. While limnic eruptions are rare, they highlight the importance of identifying and monitoring lakes with similar characteristics. Scientists have identified several lakes, including Lake Kivu on the border of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, as potential candidates for future limnic eruptions. Lake Kivu in particular poses a significant risk as it contains enormous amounts of dissolved carbon dioxide and methane. An eruption from Lake Kivu, given its size and proximity to densely populated areas, could have catastrophic consequences, potentially dwarfing the scale of the Nyos disaster. Efforts are underway to monitor gas levels in Lake Kivu and develop degassing strategies similar to those implemented at Lake Nyos. However, the challenges are significant, given the lake's size and the complex political situation in the region. The Lake Nyos disaster stands as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the importance of scientific understanding in mitigating natural hazards. It is a story of tragedy, but also one of resilience and innovation. While the scars of that fateful night in 1986 remain, the people of Cameroon, with the help of the international community, have made significant strides in understanding and mitigating the risks posed by limnic eruptions. The legacy of Lake Nyos is a call for continued vigilance, research, and international collaboration. By learning from the past and applying our knowledge to the future, we can strive to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The silent killer of Lake Nyos may have claimed many lives, but it also ignited a global effort to understand and mitigate the risks posed by these sleeping giants, ensuring that future generations can live in harmony with the natural world, even in the shadow of such powerful forces.